Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning.
Salam.
Welcome to MNC Group Investor Forum 2022 for group meeting of PT Bank Syariah Indonesia Tbk or BRIS. I am Steven Handayanto from MNC Sekuritas who will moderate this meeting. The theme strengthening Indonesia's resiliency and transformation in line with the effectiveness of various strategic efforts by the government in boosting economic recovery during the pandemic. In addition, the G20 presidency is the right momentum for Indonesia to contribute to the global economic recovery through the implementation of various strategies, transformation, integration, and synergy in all lines. The 4-day conference will be attended by domestic investors and a network of investors abroad who have partnered with AGCO in more than 125 countries. The event consisted of 3 days of corporate forum with the leaders of Indonesians listed companies and closed with the highlight of the event, namely Macro Day, that welcome all participants to attend keynote addresses and dialogues from Indonesia's policymakers and capital market regulator. To start this session, please allow me to give a warm welcome to Mr. Ade Cahyonugroho, the Finance and Strategy Director of PT Bank Syariah Indonesia Tbk, who will present the business update of BRIS. So, without further ado, the management will start by presenting the latest update on BRIS, and we will follow that up with a Q&A session. If you have any question, participants can just type in on the chat box and I will read it to Mr. Ade Cahyonugroho. Or you can also use the raise hand feature and then I will lead the Q&A session. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Ade Cahyonugroho to give the company update of BRIS. Mr. Ade Cahyonugroho, the time is yours.
Thank you, Steven. Good morning, everyone. First of all, we would like to say thank you, of course, for MNC for inviting us in this event. And also thanks for the participant who already joined this session. A little bit update about the progress of Bank Syariah Indonesia that just actually celebrate the first birthday anniversary last February. So we are very happy with the progress, and then I think it is also a good opportunity for us to update you with the current update from the Bank Syariah Indonesia. If you see the next slide, I think. How long the time for me to present, Pak Stephen?
30 minutes, Pak.
Oh, 30 minutes. Okay, thank you. So first, I think, again, I think we all so excited about the progress of our economic condition, yeah, especially about the Omicron case that we start the very positive trend that start to decline in Indonesia, and then of course, this will have a very positive impact for the economic. If we see the sales, for example, for the retail and also for the car, I think start also to increase. And then we expect, I think, this month and next month, I think it will be a very good sign for us, yeah, to see how the economic will progressing in the for this year, especially in Indonesia. And then if we see the bank itself, I think we are also quite happy with the how the bank industry in Indonesia able to survive during the pandemic crisis. And then despite of all the subsidy from the government, of all the support from the regulator, I think what we see in the bank, I think we still manage to create a growth in terms of asset, financing, and also the third-party fund. Even if we compare with back to previous slide, if we compare with the between Syariah Bank and National Bank, also we can see that Syariah Bank consistently growth double the growth from the industry, even during the pandemic in the last 2 years. So I think it is a very good sign also for us, especially for Bank Syariah in Indonesia. And then Bank Syariah Indonesia itself, next, last year is a quite challenging year for us. Again, this bank, the government has initiative to merge the three major Syariah bank belong to government, and then we did the merger during the pandemic. So it is not easy process. The merger itself quite complicated, yeah, because it's a merge of from three banks, not only two but three banks. But we are again very grateful that finally we can make it. So the legal merger itself we finished by 1st of February. But again, legal merger doesn't mean that we already complete all the operational merger. We've managed to complete the operational merger on 1st November of 2021. So this is a very important step for us, completing the operational merger. Means as a bank, we operate through with a one system and one reporting. So I think so we can start focus again to leverage all the potential from the merger start from the 1st of November 2021. So that's a little bit update about the progress from the merger. So next, so again to introduce Bank Syariah Indonesia, I think we are quite lucky. I think this is the only bank that the president itself that announced the merger. So I think it's shown that the government has a very serious focus to develop Syariah Bank Indonesia. If we see the size of asset, again, I think one of the objective is to have one leading Syariah Bank Indonesia with a decent scale, that we finally, through this merger, we have a bank with the asset around 265 billion, I think, makes this bank become rank 7 in Indonesia. And then from the network also quite extensive. We have like a more than 102,000 outlet all over Indonesia, with a very strong customer base numbers, more than 16 million customer base we have. I think this is one of the biggest in terms of customer base and also network in Indonesia. From the shareholder perspective, right now, I think the majority shareholders still belong to Bank Mandiri, more than 50%, that make us consolidate to Bank Mandiri reporting. So the BNI and BRI, I think also have the rest of the share or ownership. BNI has 24%, and then BRI has a 17%, and public still a very low, around 7%. So that's the little bit profile about the Syariah Bank. Right now, I think in terms of market cap, we are quite happy. Actually, for a bank that just officially merged last year to have a very quite good market cap in Indonesia, I think it is something that very promising for us. Of course, the dream is to become top 10 global Syariah bank in the world, representing Indonesia as the biggest Muslim population in the world. So this is something that I think something possible to achieve, because no other country in the world that has a Muslim population more than 200 million people. So I think this is very promising, that and also very possible to achieve. So next, so Bapak Ibu sekalian, ladies and gentlemen, all the participants for this morning meeting, I think this is a quite important slide that I want to share, yeah, about our belief why Bank Syariah is a very promising in Indonesia, and specifically why Bank Syariah Indonesia is a very possible to become undisputed global Syariah banking champion. At least there are 6 major reasons that we always believe to support all the vision that we have in Bank Syariah Indonesia. First of all, of course, the significant size of Indonesian market. Again, we have the largest Syariah Muslim, the largest Muslim population in the world, around 229 million. But I think the most important thing is not only about the numbers, but also about the preference. So based on our research, actually almost 40 to 50% of Indonesian people, actually they want to have a Syariah bank as their operational bank. So based on our research, again, 40 to 40, almost 50%, they are willing to have a Syariah bank account. So the problem is why the market share is very small. I think about the capability of this bank itself to serve the customer needs in the past. Kok hilang ya slide-nya? So yeah, this is our research showing that actually 44% Muslim Indonesia actually they have a preference on Sharia compliance. The problem in the past is, I think, based also on our research, I think the capability for Bank Syariah to fulfill the demand of Indonesian customer is still like behind the conventional bank. For example, based on our research, almost 80% of our customer they still have conventional bank account. The reason why, because they cannot 100% use Syariah bank to fulfill their financial needs. So that kind of thing that we believe if we can manage our bank to at least have the same level of services with the conventional bank, it is very possible that we will have a much bigger market share in the future. I think that's the first reason. I think the second reason, this is also important, why Bank Syariah is very possible to grow much bigger in the future. Of course, the support from the government. So what we feel in the last, I think in the last 5 years, what we feel about the government policy, for example, the government just released, I think 2017, just released a new regulation that allow for the pegawai negeri or civil servant to use a Syariah bank as one of their payroll account. I think this is a very good example how the government give us a support to grow that have the same playing field with the Bank Himbara or state-owned bank. So, and the other example is how some regions start to converting into Syariah bank only. For example, like in Aceh, the local government decide to use only Syariah bank. This is show how some region in Indonesia actually they start to use to believe that Syariah bank is the best solution for the people in their region. So this is something, if we manage to success in Aceh, I think it will become a very good example for all region in Indonesia. And from the sukuk issuance, we also see a very good progress where government start and also the corporation start to issue sukuk also as one of the option for the fundraising. And then the number 3 is about the value from the merger itself. Again, I will show later in some slide how the merger give us actually a scale of economic that allowing us to have not only much better cost, but also we have a better financing quality because we have a much better risk management standard. I will show later in the some slide, especially for loan portfolio and also for the funding mix in Bank Syariah Indonesia. And then number 4 is about the digital development. That's something that we believe it allow us as a medium size bank to compete with the biggest bank in Indonesia. Because, in the past, it is very difficult for us, for a small or medium-sized bank to compete with the biggest bank because of they have a very wide branch network all over Indonesia that difficult to compete with the traditional model bank operational. But through digital platform, I think it is allow us to compete head-to-head with with all the biggest, all the major bank in Indonesia. And then the awareness of digital platform also helped by through the pandemic, where we see a very significant conversion from traditional branches into digital platform that allow us again to have a much better business model to serve the customer with a much more efficient cost. And then number 5 is from the growth strategy. Again, through this measure, it is allow us to become one of the best bank in Indonesia in terms of cost of fund. And finally, it allow us to choose the segment that we want to grow. For example, right now we have a cost of fund around 1.6%. I think one of the best in Indonesia that allow us to penetrate more aggressively on the specific segment, like on the consumer, and also some segment in micro business. So this is something I think very important also, because the growth strategy really depend on how good is your cost of fund. Because if you have a high cost of fund, I think it's very difficult to choose the segment. But since we have a good cost of fund, I think again it is a very positive sign for us to grow on the healthy asset. And the last one, I think number 6, I think why this bank is very unique, why Bank Syariah is very unique, especially Bank Syariah Indonesia, because again, if we talk about the ESG, I think by default, I think Bank Syariah already using an ESG principle as their main concern in this business model. For example, last year we managed to distribute or donate more than 100 billion from the bank profit, and another 100 billion rupiah from the customer that we donate. We raise the donation from the customer through our mobile platform. So it is a very good example how this bank will differentiate with the conventional bank by putting ESG as the not only but ESG is really part of the business model of the Bank Syariah. I think this is something that really we want to promote more in the future. Again, to show how we can differentiate why people should go to the Bank Syariah, because we have a different offering and also different business model. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think Bapak Ibu sekalian, at least this is the 6 major reasons why we believe that Indonesia will be a good place for Bank Syariah to grow, and then support our vision to become top 10 global Syariah bank in Indonesia. Some example, next mungkin how we grow during the next slide. So again, if we see the progress again we just operate 1 year as a Bank Syariah Indonesia, but we see a very good progress for the financing growth. For example, we managed to grow 9%. I think it is above the industry growth. And then, for example, also very interesting from the saving account perspective, that we managed to grow by 12.84%, and it makes BSI as one of the best bank in terms of saving account. Again, this is very important. Why? At least there are 2 reasons. First, it shows how the customer loyalty on the Syariah account, and the second, by having a very strong saving account, it is also help us to reduce our cost of fund. That if we see the cost of fund last year, we managed to push from almost 2.7% to 2.03%, and then from the month to date cost of fund even already decreased from 2.4 to 1.7%. And then we also expect that in the following years we will have a much better cost efficiency. That we start the trend, I think in last year, that the BOPO cost efficiency ratio also start to decline. By having this benefit from the merger, I think last year we managed to push our profit to grow by almost 38.4%, from 2.19% to trillion. Again, Bapak Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, if you see the growth of the net profit, you must say that maybe most of people say that, well, all the banks last year managed to improve also their profitability, but we also need to remember that last year is our first year of our operation. So again, we make this number, we manage this number through the merger process. So this is something that we believe something that we can continue the trend in the following years, because again, merger itself, for example, from the cost perspective, we just start to close some of branches that in the past they operate very close among each others, that finally will create a better cost efficiency in the future. So next, from the next saja, I think from the loan growth last year, I think this bank quite lucky. We have a very strong portfolio in the consumer that provide us, I think, not only best return that's shown by yield that more than 10.7%, but also provide us with a very good quality. And last year we managed this segment to grow almost 20%. That if we see in the portfolio right now, the consumer dominate the portfolio of Bank Syariah Indonesia, grow from 43% to 48% in our loan book. I think this trend will continue in the future. Again, the reason not only because the profitability reason, but also we believe individual consumer is much more relevant with the Syariah positioning. So this is something that I think will become our main target segment, retail individual. While for the other segment, for example, like in the wholesale, I think we just want to maintain the growth along the market. Yeah, of course, as the biggest Syariah bank, we cannot leave this segment. I think we still need to have the wholesale segment. One of the reason also because most of the wholesale customer, they also have an employee. So by keeping the business with the corporation, we have an access to their employee, especially for the payroll business from the big corporation such as state-owned company. I think that's from the loan growth story. If you see more detail on the consumer as the major portfolio in our book, I think we see that last year again we managed a very aggressive growth on the payroll-based financing. Again, if you see the number, I think the payroll-based financing provide us a very good yield, more than 11%, and a very good loan quality with the non-performing financing and also special mention financing, very manageable. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is something that really help us, especially in terms of growth and also the profitability. Again, if we see the numbers, actually, this is we see for the ASN or civil servant acquisition. Last year we managed to grow almost 15%, but we believe this number is still very small, because we understand all over Indonesia there are total more than 5 million of civil servant, that right now the penetration in Bank Syariah Indonesia only very small, only around 174,000, means that the room for our for Bank Syariah Indonesia to push more in this business is still very huge. It is something that example how this bank will grow in the future, focus on the consumer financing, especially for payroll-based financing. Next. From the quality of, since we focus on the segment that provide us with a better quality, we can see the trend of declining in financing at risk. That I think last year we managed to push down the financing at risk or loan at risk in the conventional bank from 21% to 17%. If you see more detail in the next slide, Bapak Ibu sekalian, so this is example how this merger we believe will create a much healthier portfolio from the loan perspective. Last year, from all the new booking that we managed in the 2021, I think it's shown that we have a very good risk management approach and also very good, very disciplined risk acceptance criteria that finally create a booking with a very good quality on in wholesale segment and also in retail segment. So again, if we can continue this trend, I think finally this bank will have a very good quality from the loan perspective. If we see the funding, next slide. It is also very interesting again, Bapak Ibu sekalian, in terms of saving account, BSI actually one of the best in Indonesia. So BSI in terms of saving account, we are number 5 below 4 major bank in Indonesia. This is also a very important information because again, if we see the trend, I think saving account, especially in Bank Syariah Indonesia, really pushed by Wadia saving account. What is Wadia saving account? Wadia saving account is very specific Syariah product that become, I think, the most favorite product from our customer. That it is like a zero interest product, so it's like tidak ada bunga sama sekali gitu ya, just offering a free admin gitu. So again, if we see understand the behavior of our customer ya, why they decide to shift from conventional to Syariah bank, because they have a specific reason. And then when we offering them with the saving account, most of the customer they choose Wadia saving account. So it's like a
Sorry, just a reminder, it's this last 5 minutes of your presentation.
Okay. Yeah, so I think it is a very unique offering from Bank Syariah Indonesia that actually I still remember. I think 6 years ago when I joined this Syariah bank, really surprising me how the customer behavior totally different with the conventional bank. When we offering them the type of saving account, we have a product with the like a interest gitu, but I think most of the customer choose the Wadia saving account that for them the most important thing is to have a product that comply with the Syariah regulation. So it is something that we want to push more in the future that finally also provide us with a very good cost of fund. Next. Again, this is also the benefit from merger, how we shift this bank. In the past, 51% of our time deposit is special rate, but we managed to push down the numbers. Right now, I think the special rate only 36%. Why we can manage to shift down the special rate numbers in Bank Syariah Indonesia? One of the reason because we have right now very strong liquidity. So by having a very strong liquidity, it is allowing us to again to renegotiate with the customer to have the time deposit with the counter rate. So as the result, this is we can see the yellow chart that the cost of fund from the time deposit declining quite significant. But again, we believe this is something that's still possible to lowering down in the following years. So this is something example how the merger bring the value for Bank Syariah Indonesia. I think last thing that I want to share is about the ESG. Bapak Ibu sekalian, ladies and gentlemen, again, we have a very strong belief why we need Bank Syariah in Indonesia, because we are try to offer the customer not only financial solution, but also solution for their spiritual and social needs. One of the example that we really focus this year, last year, is especially on donation. So if you see the donation, we can see Okay, this is the offering that we use in our approach to our customer to differentiate ourselves with the conventional bank. We always mention that we are your friend. We are friend for the customer, not only to provide the financial solution, but also we provide the customer with the social and spiritual solution. One of the example is we allow the customer to do the donation through our mobile platform. So it is, I think, one of the very unique offering from Bank Syariah Indonesia. And then I think it is very we are very happy with the response from the customer, because if we see the data, for example, from the donation from the customer last year, we managed to raise more than 100 billion atau lebih daripada 100 miliar rupiah. 108 billion. Again, this is something that we believe why Bank Syariah is very unique, because this kind of offering also have a very good response from the customer. So this is something that we want to continue in the future. So again, the question always, what is the difference between conventional bank and Syariah bank? I think this can be one of the answer, and then also give the customer alternative solution for their financial needs, and also to provide them with a very unique positioning with among the top 10 bank in Indonesia. So again, Bapak Ibu sekalian, this is just the beginning. ESG is something that we believe will make a very strong differentiator between us and a conventional bank. And then we have a very aggressive dream, not only having the business, but also with acquisition model. For example, we last year managed to acquire MOS, almost 100% growth to almost 27,000 MOS that we acquire. And then we have a very strong ambition on this MOS to become one of our channel in the future. Through digitalization, for example, we put like Kris as the donation solution in MOS that we acquired last year. So through this, I think digital approach, I think we start to a very good progress. The response, how the donation can be a very a unique business from the Syariah bank in Indonesia. I think that's my last update from the Bank Syariah Indonesia. I think again, Bapak Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, what we are trying to offer to our customer is a very unique offering as the only Syariah bank in top 10 bank in Indonesia. And then we believe with the shifting of the demography in Indonesia, Bank Syariah Indonesia can be a very relevant with the future of Indonesian demography. So again, thank you. If there's any question, of course, we will be more than happy to respond or to answer all the questions. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Pak Ade Cahyo, for your presentation, and congratulations for the numbers. I see that it's a very good set of progression in numbers for a very young bank in Indonesia. And I'll start before I open with the questions from the participants. I would like to ask the first question. So as we know, the market starts to anticipate the more hawkish Fed with 7 hikes this year. Bank Indonesia is expected to follow suit in order to maintain the economic stability, as we also believe that the domestic inflation will start to pick up. So my question would be, how does the Bank Syariah Indonesia see the situation, and does Bank Syariah Indonesia have any calculation on how it may impact the banking business, particularly in the bank's asset quality and the yield?
Okay, thank you, Stephen, for the question. Again, I think the context that we need to understand specifically for Bank Syariah Indonesia. Again, this is a new bank that just merged last year. So the situation in Bank Syariah is very unique. If we see the cost of fund, for example, again, the opportunity for this bank to restructure the funding composition still very huge. You know, in the past, for example, one of the legacy bank, they have a very tight liquidity, so it is very difficult for them to manage the price of their funding. But through this merger, finally, all of those three legacy bank, we have a very strong liquidity. So by having this situation, I think the room for us, again, from the cost of fund perspective, to lowering the price, I think it's still quite open. So again, this is not normal situation. We understand for some major bank, I think the portfolio already mature, while for the BSI, from the funding perspective, it's not yet mature. So we still have a huge room to do to have a better composition from the funding portfolio. While for the loan quality and also for the yield, the yield impact from the impact from the macroeconomic, I think again we need to see the composition. I think that our target segment is more on the payroll-based account. This is something that we believe more have a very resilience compared to other segment. It was proven during the pandemic. Even during the pandemic, I think the payroll-based business is very strong and can survive even during the difficult time. So this is something that finally we believe this bank, especially Bank Syariah Indonesia, with the loan portfolio, with the loan composition, and then also the target segment, we have a very strong confidence that this will have a very good quality even during the crisis. Mungkin that's my response, Pak. Jadi this is really depend on your balance sheet portfolio from the asset and funding. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak. So we got a next question from one of our participants. So it's regarding the custodian bank. So does Bank Syariah Indonesia have a plan to be the first Sharia custodian bank in Indonesia? So to make the Sharia Act a true preservation, what if there is a plan? If there's a plan, what would it be called? And what moves will apply to the Bank Syariah Indonesia so that the plan to be the first custodian bank can be fulfilled? And if there's no purpose, if there's no plan about it, what's the reason behind it?
Sorry, Stephen, can you repeat the question? Sorry,
it's
problem with this.
Okay, it's about the plan to be a Sharia custodian bank in Indonesia. Do you have a plan to be custodian bank in Indonesia?
We already become the only custodian bank in Indonesia, I think. The problem is the size is still very small. Actually, we start to this business, the custodian business, I think just before the merger. So again, but it is a very promising, because most of the portfolio from the sukuk and also from Syariah relevant portfolio still managed by conventional custodian bank. And I think it is our job to convert into Bank Syariah Indonesia. Again, the objective is not only for the custodian. We want to become the main player on the sukuk ecosystem. I think that's one of the objectives. So custodian only one of the part that from the sukuk ecosystem that we believe in the future will be the portion compared to the conventional bond, for example, will increase significantly.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Ade Cahyo. We got one more question, Pak, from one of the media. So it's about how is the continuation of Bank Syariah Indonesia's plan to become a state-owned bank, BUMN bank? and the government targets the process to be completed in the third quarter of 2022. Is that enough time to realize the plan? And what are the opportunities and challenges to make Bank Syariah Indonesia a state-owned bank?
Okay, I think this is I just want to clarify. Of course, this is the apa ya, kewenangan pemegang saham ya. So this is not. I think this is really depend on the government and also with the current major shareholder Bank Mandiri, BNI, and BRI, and also the state-owned ministry. So we just rely on them for this plan. But one thing that we are quite happy again, this is all the news, all the statement from the government showing actually this country, this government, they really support us in a very way. Yeah. I think this is a very good sign for us, yeah, to show that they have a strong concern for this bank to grow much bigger in the future. So I think that's my response ya. Jadi kalau yang rencana lainnya itu terserah tergantung pemerintah dan pemegang saham ya. Kalau kita as the operator ya, I think again we really believe that Bank Syariah can be alternative solution for the Indonesian people for the banking services ya. I think that's what we believe.
Okay, thank you Pak Ade Cahyo. And since the time is almost up, Mr. Ade Cahyo, can you give us a closing remarks to complete your presentation for today's session?
Okay, again, thank you MNC for inviting Bank Syariah Indonesia, and then of course the opportunity for us to share about the story of Bank Syariah Indonesia. Again, Bapak Ibu sekalian, if we see all the context, yeah, I think Bank Syariah in Indonesia is very promising. And through Bank Syariah Indonesia, I think all the potential it is much more possible to make it into reality lah, itu gitu. So thank you for all the support, and then we will keep open the communication ya, to update you with the current progress, and then we expect much better performance in the following years. Thank you again MNC, and then have a good event ya. Again, thank you for inviting Bank Syariah Indonesia.
Thank you. That's Mr. Ade Cahyo. Mr. Ade Cahyo Nugroho, the Finance and Strategy Director of Bank Syariah Indonesia Tbk. To all participants, that concludes our call for the session. I would like to thank personally all of you for attending the call today and the management of PT Bank Syariah Indonesia Tbk. For your information, the upcoming group meeting at 10 a.m. today will be PT Era Jaya Swasembada Tbk or ERA and PT Bank Negara Indonesia Tbk or BBNI. After that, at 11 a.m. today will be PT Industri Jamu and Farmasi Sidomuncul Tbk or SIDO. We also organize a full-day virtual conference that welcomes all participants to attend presentation from Indonesia's policymakers and financial services regulators who will share their views on the latest post-pandemic recovery update. So see you next time and have a great day.